If anyone is watching on the Facebook group page, try to hop on to the Zoom at 9 o'clock. I left the link right there. Good morning. We're gonna start in about 7 minutes. Get people to go on. I know a lot of people are gonna be watching the replay, and I know a lot of you are gonna be watching here on the Facebook group page. But good morning, good afternoon, everybody. I hope everyone is having a fantastic day so far. Just a little intro. I'm just gonna be going over how to avoid relapse and triggers. And I may be going over a confidence piece because I want to give Abby tomorrow, who is a fashion stylist, and how to look your best, feel your best, and anything you want to wear that aligns to your spirit. But she is going to be on tomorrow from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Same place, same time, and that's again Pacific Standard Time. And I'm looking forward to her teaching us the confidence piece. But I always like to add in a little bit of confidence in there, so I always like to do my little piece on confidence, and so I probably will be doing that today, depending on time. I want to also share a PDF with you about triggers and relapses, something that you can go ahead and monitor and write down. It's going to be great. So I will make sure to also put that out on the Facebook group page. But we'll see. I know. Okay, I guess I got kicked out. That was funny. Okay, some computer glitches here and there, that's okay. So if no one did hear me what I was saying originally, because I may have gotten some interference, of course, what I was saying is that today I'm going to be going over avoiding triggers and relapse, because it's very common, you know, especially in the early stages of recovery. We have a lot of things that can trigger us, a lot of different things. There's places, people, even feelings and thoughts and emotions, things like that can trigger us. So how do we go ahead and prevent those triggers is very important, and that's what I'm going to be talking about today, as well as a piece in confidence. So we will get started in a little bit. And if you are on the Facebook group page, come on to the Zoom. Come on to the Zoom. Wild hair today too. The Zoom link is actually inside the group page. I made a post, I think, early this morning. If you are on the Facebook group page right now watching, drop in the comments, what are some things that trigger you? What are some things that trigger you? It could be anything. It doesn't even have to be alcohol related. It could be like someone giving you a dirty look. It could be somebody, just an overall negative energy around you. Or is it maybe a word that you remember then from your past that you're like, ooh, I don't like that. I can tell you what used to trigger me before, like tapping sounds, bumping, like so if someone were to tap me like this, I'd be like, stop. But I've totally learned to just get over it. I am so over any type of things that used to bother me, over it. Go ahead and get started in just a minute or two. Welcoming everybody. Welcome, welcome. And if you're on the Facebook group page, come pop into the Zoom. I know it's cozy in that world over there. But I know a lot of people are going to be watching this on replay because the time is odd. Either people are too early or it is on their lunch break, or they're at work. But try to pop on if you can. Okay. Well, I am just going to go ahead and get started. My name is Gina Kunadian, and I am a women's alcohol-free lifestyle and recovery coach, and I help them gain clarity, energy, and confidence. That way they can go ahead and unleash their creative potential and break through their alcohol dependency. I work with women who are sober curious. I work with women who are in the recovery process. So whether that's you, you're here to support, whether you're here to learn more about how to avoid relapses, whether you're here just to get some support and get some questions answered, I'm just so grateful that you are here today. So today, as well as I'm going to be speaking about confidence. Tomorrow we have a special guest speaker. Her name is Abby Young. She is going to be going over fashion and style because she is a fashion stylist. And she's going to be showing you and teaching you how to be your most confident self in anything that you wear. And we'll probably give some great fashion tips and a lot of good pointers. So I will go ahead and start. Well, first, I hope everyone can hear me well. I think everyone can hear me well. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And let me know if anyone has brought their friend, or if anyone has brought or has done the aligned action work from yesterday's class, which was to go ahead and first off do one or two takeaways. Put it on your social media, whether it's TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. Tag me because I am on all three platforms. Oh, and LinkedIn as well. Hi, Nicole. How are you?
Good morning. How are you, Gina? You look great.
Good. Yay! It's going to be an intimate morning here. I have everybody on the Facebook group page, so I am glad that it keeps. I think you're on that group page too. That joining here on Zoom, so I appreciate you and thank you for joining. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I was just going over talking about the line action work, and if anyone had done that, they will receive some prizes, and the prizes will be 30 days of my coaching videos. Now, these videos are actually just like short clip videos, but they're there to help you with the mindset as well as good communication, helping you overcome anxiety, helping you overcome fear, things that we go through in everyday life. So they're just good mindset tools. But I'm gonna go ahead
Love
and share
that.
my screen. Yeah. So I'm excited. So if you do today's aligned work, which we'll go over after all of the presentation is over, then they can win a prize.
Love prizes. Yay.
Yeah, love prizes. Nicole, also, since I have you on here, podcast sometime. I would love to have you on my podcast.
Yes, absolutely. Let's do that often. Let's link
Let's
arms
do it. Yeah.
for sure.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen right now. and 2. There we go. Let me just maximize this. Perfect. Perfect. There. Okay, so day 2, we're talking about alcohol triggers, relapse causes, and how to avoid them. Now, I don't know about you, but in my early phases of recovery, everything was a trigger, from movies, seeing people drink, from the grocery stores, doing grocery shopping, and then seeing alcohol on the aisle that I'm walking by, to just going to friends' houses and then they have alcohol there and they're drinking. So it is very common for us individuals who are trying to avoid alcohol to experience alcohol around us because it is glorified in our society. It is shown as being glamorous, and just what people normally do, for relaxation after work, for going to a party, for celebrating at a wedding, even for somebody's funeral. Like, it's just all around us. And so today my goal is to go ahead and teach you how to go ahead and avoid these triggers and become better and better and better. And the only way you can become better and better is by practicing, practicing, and practicing. So I know you got this. But anyways, I always like to start with a quote. And today's quote is, "Life is not about who you once were, it's about who you are now and who you have the potential to be." Because we're all trying to strive to be the best version of ourselves, and we do that with love and support from family, from our love and support from our higher power, our God. Lord Jesus is my God. So yeah, and Nicole's, I think, as well. So yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. So let's go ahead and talk about alcohol triggers. Now, maybe you're not even drinking, and that's okay. This is just good information in case you have anything that triggers you. Maybe perhaps people trigger you. Sometimes people can trigger you. Sometimes kids can even trigger you. We have to learn as parents, like, okay, be patient and be cool and calm. But let me go ahead and read this to you. So very few people are successful in quitting drinking alcohol and never relapsing. And now, I don't think I've met anybody who have actually quit drinking and never relapse. Majority of the people who I know who had quit drinking in the past wind up relapsing. And it happens, it is part of the recovery process. And give yourself grace because you are in the process. The key word is process. So you will get there. And we always have to have some hiccups and some backups in order for us to move forward. But what people don't understand is that quitting drinking is a lot harder than just not having a drink. So from the ones who are in recovery and stop drinking, go back to memory lane. How many times do you remember telling yourself, I am never going to drink again? But then only find yourself the next day with or even hours afterward with a drink in your hand. I was one of them. I was like that. I would wake up from these awful hangovers after a night's worth of drinking from going out, clubbing, socializing with friends. I'd wake up, have anxiety, and tell myself this: I will never, ever drink again. That next day, I think I was already drinking, so I know what it's like. But we always wonder, why is it that we always tell ourselves that we're never going to do something, but we wind up doing it? This is why. So while the drive to quit was there, something triggered that urge to drink again. Now, statistics show that over 30% of people who attempt to stop drinking relapse in their first year of sobriety. But the longer an alcoholic stays sober, the better chances are for a long-term sobriety, which is always good news because the longer you are sober, for me, it is now 5.5 years. I don't even have a desire to drink. Like, there could be a bottle of something right in front of me. I have no desire whatsoever to even have that. But there won't be alcohol in the house anyway. So what is a trigger? Well, in sobriety terms, it means something that puts the urge to drink in our heads. Now, I'll just talk to you, Nicole. What are some things that trigger you? It doesn't even have to be alcohol related, but it could be external or internal, and I'll talk about those in a moment. But I wanted to get your opinion. What are some things that trigger you?
That's an excellent question. And I think things that trigger are beyond things that are beyond our own control on our, external and our environment, right? It could be current events. It
Hmm.
could be a death in the family, right? Or not just family, but a close friend.
Right.
Or it could be anything, or it could be a stressful season or day. Things that, like, you could be perfectly calm, but on the outside, suddenly, this actually happened to me a few days ago when everything, and one time, another thing when I even mentioned is spiritual warfare, right? There's something
Right.
that even if you did everything on all your corners to cover it, if you're a spiritual faith-based person, the devil's at work.
Yes.
So he's doing stuff all the time. He's trying to trip you up, right? And if you're not on him, he will come from all sides to use every single thing to trigger you. I mean, it could be all at once. It could be your husband, your kids, and then your work, and then the customers. It could be like everything in the weather. You have to be
Yeah.
ready because he will come at you from all things. So you gotta, have the Bible, the weapon, the sword to be ready to go. It's a spiritual warfare, right? Am I right?
Right. Yes. And
Yeah.
we're always going through this, and especially when we're in recovery for myself, when I was going through it, the enemy was always at work. And I was experiencing multiple different triggers, which I want to talk about some external triggers. Now, the difference between external and internal, of course, things that are that outside could be people, places, things, and situations. So people who rub you the wrong way. You may be at a grocery store and someone just cut in front of you in line. That's a trigger. Places that you go to, like a friend's house, like I was mentioning before, concerts, anywhere that also has alcohol. Things, well, alcohol itself is a thing, or just situational things that happen. Maybe your best friend wants to go out and to a restaurant with you, and then she winds up drinking. That's situational, and it's like a trigger there. So it is important to talk to your friends and let them know where you're at in your recovery, and or if you're trying to dissolve drinking from your life, let your friends know, friends and family, because the ones that are there to support you will support you. The ones that are not there to support you, you have to reevaluate and say, hey, what kind of friendship do I have with this person? And some internal triggers could be feelings and thoughts and emotions. Now, I know a lot of moms, after a long day from watching their children and doing household chores and cooking and cleaning, they will want to have wine every night just to relax. Now we have to think, why are we wanting this type of substance in order for us to relax? What are some other things that can actually help us relax? We don't need a substance to help us relax. We can actually create that for ourselves. And then thoughts, as women, our mind it is everywhere. Let's just face it. Our mind is here, there, everywhere. And so what happens a lot of the times is that we tend to overthink. We tend to create things in our head that don't belong there, which then will stir up some type of emotion. It could be a bad emotion. Heck, our goal is to start thinking good thoughts so we can have happy emotions. But a lot of times these emotions that we have are not good. So that can also be a trigger for us to go and drink, because we want to numb exactly what's going on inside us. Right, Nicole?
Yeah, I did want to comment because I was looking at your
Yeah,
screen again because I commented on the external trigger, but I also have a comment about internal triggers.
yeah, go ahead.
And I know you've posted this before, so I know is that I hurt people. And
Yes.
so it's some internals, then if there are internal triggers, that's a signal to us that there's unresolved something, whether it's a thought, whether it's an emotion, and it could be anywhere in the timeline or a journey, right? It could be from our very young to a teenager, whatever it is, but that is an indication to us that, like a flag, that hey, go take care of this because it's unresolved and it's there and it's going to be there until we address it.
Right, right. Yeah, you're 100%. Thanks for sharing that. And some common
Absolutely.
relapses that I want to talk about and how to avoid them, relapse triggers, excuse me. Well, number one are withdrawal symptoms. Withdrawing from alcohol, obviously, if you've experienced that, you just know it's no good and it's just horrible. Even on the best days, you still feel like you're dying. Like inside, outside, everything just feels like a big cloud around you. You start experiencing shakes, you get these headaches, you start feeling sick to your stomach and sweating. I remember I was always dry heaving in the morning time whenever I woke up from no alcohol in my system. So these, well, here's to my next point. You know, all these symptoms will go away if you drink, but then you're going backwards to square one all over again. So it's very difficult, especially if you're dependent on alcohol. Extremely difficult to do it, to just cut off. It's not healthy, and I wouldn't recommend you doing it by yourself. A way to avoid this is try to detox under supervision of a medical professional. They can provide medication that will help, subside all those horrible withdrawal symptoms, so that way you're not suffering anymore. You don't want to suffer. And this is what I did, my last and final straw, I should say, when I was at the hospital. And when I had pancreatitis that I spoke about yesterday, and the doctors and nurses provided such excellent care. They were giving me, I had an IV, they were giving me a proper nutrition for my pancreatitis, and I was monitored and just, I detoxed inside there, and it was a perfect opportunity for me just to be clean. I mean, trust me, it takes about a good 6 months to a year if you've experienced PAWS, which is the post-acute withdrawal syndromes. All those symptoms do come, but I'm just saying, I felt so much better leaving that hospital, which I think I was there for a week, because I was detoxed properly with medical professionals, which was great. Number 2 is emotional tension. So if you drink alcohol to suppress a certain emotion, then definitely look out for this one. It doesn't even have to be an emotional stress like a loved one dying. It can be just as little as like a friend flaking on you, or like I said earlier, rubbing you the wrong way, which you just kind of get triggered. How to avoid this is that this is something I was just talking about just right now, is the emotions are tough. Get it. We definitely have no control when loved ones do pass, and we shouldn't be all wrapped up in our heads feeling sorry for ourselves when things don't go according to plan. Things happen, life happens, and so we just have to be prepared, calm ourselves, don't think about the alcohol. So try surrounding yourself with people who align to who you want to become. These can be loyal, sober friends, as well as mentors and supportive family members. If you have all three, which I actually did, beautiful. But at least have somebody to help guide you along the journey, because nobody likes to do this journey alone. Otherwise, we'll probably relapse. But when we have the proper support system, like a mentor, like a coach, like a good family member, or a good loyal friend, which we talked about friendships, good loyal friends yesterday, then it just becomes a lot easier. Yes, a lot easier for sure. So number 3 is pressure from people. Now, peer pressure doesn't always happen at school. We know that. It happens everywhere we go. At parties, strangers that you don't even know can, if they notice that you don't have a drink in your hand and everyone else is drinking, they may come up to you randomly and ask you, well, why aren't you drinking? I swear, like, alcohol is like the only substance where people are asking you, why aren't you using it? Which is very interesting, because I know a lot of like drugs. I always think of drugs and alcohol as like the same thing, even prescription medications, because it's destroying our body and destroying our mind. So there are people who are pressuring you everywhere, everywhere. So you have to be aware of where you go and what to do. And yeah, you don't want random people to be pressuring you to drink, especially a stranger. So how to avoid this? So if your friends or even a random stranger are pressuring you into drinking, then you really need to have a conversation with your friends and ask for their support. And if they cannot support you, then maybe you are better off without them in your life. And also, by practicing self-discipline, you'll learn to say no frequently and feel more comfortable. And this also goes with building more confidence too, where you can stand your ground, where you can say, you know what, no is no, no. And if you don't feel comfortable in that environment, just leave. Just leave. Call a buddy. Just go. Number 4, when you get paid. Yes. So this brings me back to my old drinking habits. Whenever I got paid, the first thing I would do was like, woohoo, let's celebrate. I would take my paycheck and then go to a party, buy people drinks, and just overall just drink and enjoy myself, what I thought was enjoyment. So, a good suggestion I would tell you is what you do with your money is I would either have a direct deposit going into a savings account or you take that paycheck and put it into a savings account. Make sure you have enough funding for your this essential needs, for gas, for food, toilet paper, whatever that you normally use in your household. But keep that money in a savings account and try to save it, and you'll be surprised how much money you save when you don't drink. You'll be making a lot of money. You can take like a little nice mini vacation with yourself, with your friends, with your family. So just think about doing something like that. Oops. Okay, so you wind up testing yourself, and this is number 5. A lot of relapses happen because people want to test their strength and prove that they have overcome alcohol. Now, this used to be me. Yes, definitely be me, by the way. I used to always say, oh, I got this. I can do it. I can stop anytime. I got this. This plan often fails because they have not mastered self-control, which all stems from the mindset. Now, this is something that I actually coach with my clients, is the mindset, and that is the biggest important piece of recovery, because obviously drinking alcohol is just something extra. What is really going on in our minds that are creating us to drink? So that way we can feel different, so that way we can mask what's really going on in our internal selves. So how to avoid this? Do not attempt, I say. Remember why you quit drinking in the first place, and if you have already relapsed once, twice, 3 times or more, ask yourself how that worked out for you. So if you notice yourself constantly relapsing by you saying in your head, I got this, I can do this, remember why it didn't work out for you. Why would you want to go backwards anyway? The goal is to go forward and not backwards. And number 6, your habitual drinking time. So this goes back to like the mommies who are drinking wine in the evening time. Everyone has a specific time when they drink. For me, it was all day. Unfortunately, I couldn't stop drinking because my body needed to function, and it wouldn't be able to function without alcohol. So for others, it may be, like I said, wine after work or while you're cooking dinner. When you start getting to this habit of drinking at a certain time or during certain activities, that alone can stir up triggers. Now, how do you avoid these? Well, I always say start building healthier habits. And this is a big piece. I love teaching about healthy habits. If anyone attended my old master classes, which I think was only on the Facebook group page, I talked a lot about developing healthy habits and morning routines. But try replacing your old drinking habit with a healthier one that actually serves you. So for example, instead of drinking after work, replace that habit with exercising instead. Because you're going to get all those endorphins anyway, right? You are. And let me go ahead and I'm seeing something in the chat here. Oh, all right. So anyway, back to what I was saying, how to avoid. I'll get back to you, Nicole. Okay, we'll start talking about that. I see you here in the chat. Because I was like, oh, 10 messages. And then also my door is knocking. We're getting a new couch, by the way. And then my husband says, I may actually need to go ahead and come to the house. So I hope I don't have to pause for a moment, but I may, because I keep on hearing the doorbell ringing and my little son is not allowed to answer the door. So just one moment, because I'm hearing that. So give me just a second here. Okay, Nicole? Give me one moment. I'm going to pause.
Absolutely, yeah. You're fine, Gina.
Thank you. Okay. Oh. Oh my goodness. That was funny. It was my husband. Okay. Oh my goodness, I'm telling you. Okay,
All good?
my husband is there. Okay. I'm like, because we're getting a new couch today, right? Oh, but you know
Uh,
what? That's the way life works.
that's life.
Okay,
Yeah, life
that could have
happens.
been a trigger right there. This is a perfect example of a little bit of a stress when you're conducting a master class that is going to be live streamed through your Facebook group page and also going to be going out to a lot of people watching the replay. Then you get your doorbell ringing, telling your little child to go ahead and not answer the door to strangers. And then knowing that there's a couch coming in, and then my husband says, "Oh, I'll be there. I'll be there." Well, okay. He's like, "What time is your meeting today?" I said, "It's from 9 to 10 o'clock." And
Ah,
I know, is that funny? But you know what? I'm not triggered. I'm just like, perfect. This is a great example live of how a trigger can start.
the important to say at this point is God is sovereign. He's got
Oh,
you. Sovereign and sovereign.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, yes, yes. I'm very blessed. So, back to what I was saying about triggers and how to avoid them when it comes to when you have a certain time that you want to drink, or, like I said, if you're just wanting to drink before you go to bed, start replacing those with better habits. So, like I said, with exercising, always builds up endorphins, you feel good, and maybe having a nighttime routine that relaxes you, that nourishes you, where you're feeling good and you're not drinking to relax, but you're maybe listening to some spa music. Maybe you give yourself a nice little facial or mask, and go into devotions if you're loving that. Just do certain things that make you feel good inside, so that way you're not thinking about drinking alcohol. And or if you're cooking, I wrote here also, and your use of drinking, don't cook that day, order takeout, or maybe create like some sort of mocktail. Mocktails, what those are these awesome blended, could be blended, but they're just drinks that you make. They're like fruity, they look like alcohol drinks, but they're really not. And I would recommend those ones for not the ones who are heavily into drinking and have just recovered, but recommend those ones for more people who are sober curious and are trying to wean off their regular martinis and maybe could do a substitute drink instead. All right, so number 7, alcohol exposure. Yeah, Nicole, I love mocktails. They're great. I have a lot of recipes on there too. So go on you're in the Facebook group, but I have a section and some articles of great, good recipes on the mocktails. So number 7 is alcohol exposure. So like I said before, alcohol is everywhere. And unfortunately, like I was saying before, it's in movies, advertisements, grocery stores, restaurants, and people's homes. So when people are drinking all around you, it can definitely trigger you into wanting to drink as well. So how to avoid them? Whatever exposure places you think may cause you to relapse, try to avoid them altogether, or at least limit those places. Because when exposure is inedible, remember that why you chose sobriety and recognize how far you've come. Seriously, you have to recognize how far you've come. And then just that one drink can just destroy everything. And it's so difficult just to be in that situation where you're in an environment and you're trying to do your best. It's best just to remove yourself from an environment. That way you don't get influenced. Yeah, so before I go into my confidence piece here, I wanted to share the aligned actions. And so if you like, because remember I told you prices are involved, just share your top takeaways from day number 2. This could be on your Facebook group or on Facebook or IG, and make sure you do tag me. And my handle is at the new you _ Kunadian. And then I do have a worksheet for you, and it's perfect because this is where you're able to then write all your triggers, being internal or external, and then start creating some type of coping strategies. That way you could avoid relapsing. And then, of course, we'll be back for day number 3 tomorrow, which was going to be with Abby Young, talking about fashion and style and how to become more confident. But I do want to go over my little confidence piece today because I want to give her almost the full hour. I don't want to interrupt her. So I am going to be going over that right now. But before I do that, I want to go ahead and share where is it? I wanted to share here it is. this one here. So I will drop in the comments as well, Nicole. You know what? I'm going to drop it inside the Facebook group page because I wanted to do that. You'll receive this Managing Relapse Triggers PDF, and I got this from Mind Remake Project, and this is an amazing tool that they've created. It's going to help you identify your external internal cues that induce cravings and may lead to relapse. And they've put a list down here. So you just want to go ahead and review the following list and check off your triggers. Give me one moment. Can you see this? Okay, let me do something with this new share. There we go. I realized I wasn't able to share this with you. Here's the PDF that I was talking about. So what I was saying before is that it's all about triggers, and you have to go ahead and check off all of the ones that are triggering for you. So whether it's going to bars, maybe old using buddies, parties, watching people, like I was mentioning before, drinking on TV or even seeing them on movies. Could be arguments, boredom. Boredom is a big one. Boredom is actually a huge one. For me, it was for me. When I was bored, I always wanted to drink because I try to entertain myself for some weird reason, but it was always backfired. So take a look at this, and then over here, you can write down what are some strategies for avoiding these triggers. So it could be examples. Here they have avoid restaurants that serve alcohol. And now this could not just also be for alcohol, it could be anything, whether you're addicted to medication, narcotics. You can use this tool for anything, because that's why it says here, write out, have a loved one pick up your medications from the pharmacy. And then you want to write one strategy for each avoidable trigger from above. And then here you can also write, this will continue on here. Oh, they have a great daily self-care piece on here as well. They have some great self-care tips. So for example, if you were an evening drinker, and I was talking about those nighttime routine, here are some great things that you can do, as well as, ooh, I think you like this one, Nicole. Commit to avoiding or at least limiting fast food, sugary, and highly caffeinated drinks, overly processed foods, sweets, candy, chocolate, foods high in sodium. Yeah, definitely take a look at this. So I will be sharing this with you.
Those foods will destroy you.
Yeah, exactly. So yes, I wanted to go ahead and share that with you. Okay, so back to what I was originally going to be talking about. Let me share my screen again. And then we have here. So we're going to skip through that. That was for tomorrow. I want to talk about confidence today. Ooh, this is my favorite subject because I'm going to tell you I had low confidence when I was young. From whatever I was experiencing, my childhood trauma created a lot of low self-esteem, low confidence. I didn't think I was good enough ever. I was always comparing myself to other people. I just didn't like myself, and I never felt good about myself. So I think with that, and also having bad relationships in my life, I went ahead and used alcohol and narcotics to subside those emotions and those feelings that I had internally. But after I recovered from drinking and got on to, had a mentor who coached me in the mindset and also was a physical fitness trainer, she taught me so much about confidence and how to start creating that. So that way you are the best version of yourself and you feel good about yourself. Because once you start feeling good about yourself, you start feeling good to everybody else around you, and then they will then get that energy from you, and then it just spreads. Love just spreads. So what is confidence? Confidence means feeling sure of yourself and your abilities, not in an arrogant way, but in a realistic, secure way. It's a quiet inner knowledge that you're capable, that we are all capable. Yes, you are capable. Let me just tell you. Sometimes we just don't realize it until we start doing things that we've never done before, that we thought we could never do before. And then we see it like manifesting, and we see everything just going as planned, and we're like, wow, I'm pretty good at this. So that's what confident is. And I want to talk a little bit about why people drink alcohol to feel confident. I kind of shared my story of why I drank, but it says here, I wrote, alcohol and low self-esteem connect intimately with one another, because when you have low self-esteem, you may try to find ways in order to mask the problem. It only offers a temporary and superficial form of confidence. It does not address the cause of your low self-esteem. The danger is that you will start to rely on alcohol in order to feel comfortable with yourself, which can lead to alcohol abuse and dependency. And that was me, 100%. So how do I build confidence? I love this. Oh, I love confidence. So one idea, practice self-care, exercising regularly, sleeping well. Sleep is very good. We need good sleep. And developing healthy eating habits, which makes you feel better about yourself. Build positive relationships. Aim to build relationships with people who appreciate you. Their positivity can help you feel more confident. Yes, when you're getting support from loved ones, family, friends that are just like, you know what, that is awesome. You did such an incredible job. This is great. You start feeling a little bit more confident about yourself, and you feel like you can do more and more different things. And also here, work on a growth mindset. Now, some research shows that those with a growth mindset tend to have higher self-esteem and resilience. And then challenge yourself. So stretching your goals and challenge yourself builds confidence. Now, I know Nicole and we like to write down our goals, and then we like to stretch our goals to have that goal in mind for the future, because the more you're writing it down, the more it's in your head and the more it's in your heart, and it will just happen eventually because you truly want that goal. So it's okay to challenge yourself. It's okay to do things that you're uncomfortable doing, as long as it's a good thing. Because you want to grow your mind, grow your vision, grow your strength. And then also there's practice self-affirmations. And essentially by telling yourself your strengths and how confident you are, you can reinforce positive thoughts. Now, the thing about affirmations is that they really have to be, you really want it. You really have to, it really has to feel true to you. If you don't feel like you're aligned to this affirmation, say, for example, I'm saying, I am happy. No, if I don't really want to be happy, it's not going to work. But if I really truly want to be happy and I say to myself, I am happy, then that affirmation works. This is a good practice. So this is my equation for self-confidence. Physiology, tone, and energy. All three of those for me is self-confidence. And I'll go ahead and go over that a little bit more here. So it is in a state of mind. It is something we can acquire. I'm not about confidence here. Sometimes people think they either have it or they don't have it, but this is not the case, because everybody can be confident. Everybody. It is a skill you do have to work on, trust me. I mean, everything is practice. But you put your attention on confidence, and then you want to think to yourself, okay, what does confidence look like? What does confidence sound like? And an exercise that I always tell my clients is this. I want you to close your eyes. I want you to envision your higher self. Now, go ahead and do this practice if you can. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Exhale. One more time, in breath. And exhale. Now I want you to envision your higher self. What is she doing? What is she wearing? Whom is around her? Who are the people that are around her? And how does she interact with them? What is she eating? How is she taking care of her body? How is she serving others? Really think about that in your head. And then just take one more deep breath. And exhale. And then just open your eyes. I mean, this is just one of the tools that I love sharing that you can use so that way you understand what your potential is. Not what it could be, what it's going to be. I always like to use those types of phrases. So another thing is you want to look at other people who you feel are extremely confident and notice how they present themselves. Notice their body posture. What is their tone of voice? What kind of tone are they speaking in? What is their volume? Is it very low, like, hi, how are you doing today? Or is their volume very high, like, hi, how are you doing today? There's a big difference, right? And you want to speak with the proper tone and volume, which demonstrates a level of confidence. And I always give the example of a salesperson. Now, when people are in sales, I'll give an example. Would you want to buy from somebody like this? Someone came up to me, oh, hey, I'm interested in this couch. Let's just talk about couch because my couch just came in right now. And then the salesperson like, oh yeah, we have this couch here. It's green, it has a recliner and it's a pretty comfortable couch, I think, yeah. Or would you want somebody to demonstrate the couch like this? Oh my goodness, this couch is fantastic. Everybody comes to this couch, they go ahead and try it out, they'll go ahead and use the recliner, they'll just lay in there for about 5 minutes and they're just like, oh my goodness, this is the best couch ever. What's the difference there? The energy is different, the tone, the confidence, everything. So make sure you speak in the proper tone when you're trying to present yourself more confidently. Hold your confidence, like I always say, that's why I have this little cute picture here. Hold your body with confidence, stand up straight, shoulders back, not so much leaning forward and looking down. Look up. I've learned this. People have a tendency when they're walking by people, they're looking down. Now, for women, this is important, especially if you're out at night and you're having to walk out in the streets and then could be danger, who knows, men. It's best not to always walk like this because then they're going to think you're prey. Best to stand up straight and walk. Don't even look at them, just walk and look straight ahead like that. It's just a safety technique that I always say. But in your life every day, it's best just to go ahead and look up and just look ahead and just keep walking with your shoulders back. Whoops. Yeah, okay. All right, so, and also do the things that make you feel uncomfortable. And I think I've talked about this many times before because you will be amazed at what you can actually accomplish. And then, here we go. Of course, surround yourself with confident individuals and channel their characteristics. If you have a mentor or someone you look up to that you're like, you know what, I love how this person acts. I love how this person talks. I love this person's, how they're so goal-oriented and just a magnificent person. Copy, model them. You don't actually have to like copy verbatim or anything, but just see how they act and then just copy them if it aligns with you. It's okay. That's why they're a mentor. And also get into action. Get rid of that voice in your mind that says you cannot do it. Please just tell yourself stop, and then have awareness about what's going on, why it's saying that, and then just release it out somewhere. Does not belong to you. And last but not least, I always say this. No apologies. Do not apologize for being great. Do not apologize to anybody for being who you are, because you are a unique, loving individual and you are loved by so many people. Never apologize or never put yourself lower. Never diminish your light for somebody else. Let your light shine is what I always say. Okay, so that was my confidence piece. Again, tomorrow I have Miss Abby Young, fashion stylist. She is going to be talking about how to look your best confidently. I wanted to open up the floor here to ask any questions with anything. I know yesterday Nicole was talking, but my volume was off yesterday. I thought it was on completely, but it was totally off. Let me go ahead and stop share that way I can go on here. Any questions, Nicole?
No, just you're doing awesome. You just hit spot on, everything's spot on.
I'm
I
just reading.
say go,
Oh,
Gina.
thank you. Yeah, I see in your comments. Thank you. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm looking at them afterward here.
No worries.
Yeah. And I see my name on here, Gina Carry On. So that must be somebody's on there who has my link. Hi. I don't know which one it is, but hi. Any questions you can just write in the comments about confidence, or you can also share what has triggered you in the past, whether it's alcohol related or non-alcohol related. Nothing?
I would say, I was thinking, it comes to me anytime, any trigger for anything is
Yeah.
somebody feeling stuck in anything, right? Whether it's momentum, direction, stuck. So nobody likes being stuck. And so often when we feel stuck, we look for solutions, and it may not always be the best solutions if we haven't created that better habit. So, running back to old habits, but it's a matter of taking that time to really uh, kind of like reflect and figure out, and for the better, what's the alternative to what. The thing about the insanity part is like doing the same thing, hoping for different results. Insanity, right? And
Right.
so if we keep doing the same thing, hoping for different results, it is insanity. So therefore, if we don't want to, we want to avoid insanity altogether, we need to really look at changing. And oftentimes, I would say this: the culprit here and the danger is when we try to rely on ourselves for those solutions. But the key is there's a lot of solutions out there, whether it's a mentor, whether it's looking at new ventures or YouTube, what have you, even talking to another family member. Because I'll say this, because God gave each of us gifts, even our children who's younger than us. God gave them gifts of wisdom. So I find myself going to my kids something for counsel because God gave them a gift and I know they have it. So sometimes it's not, it's counterintuitive for us to go to our children or somebody we're not used to, by societal, norms. But if we pause for a second, we get creative. It's important to get creative so that we can get the tools, because really we live in info age. There is everything to learn under the sun here. So if you're looking for a solution, the key is take initiative and really look, because actually the Bible says, right, seek and you shall find, right? Ask and you shall receive, knock and the door shall be open to you. It's all true. Those are action words. And the Lord is asking you to take action. Knowledge alone will not get you to your goals. It's taking the action that's going to get you there. Because I'm going to share a little example with you of my own. When I
Yeah.
was in college, right? And so I'm very self-reliant, which is dangerous. Self-reliant and perfectionist is a bad combo, right?
Yeah.
Because you're always waiting for all the stars to align when the star is not going to necessarily, you have to make the opportunities rather than wait for the opportunities to happen. Well, in college, I'm so self-reliant. I would do all my studies, do my own homework, but I don't find myself going to the office hours of my teachers. I just didn't, like, I know it's there, but I didn't make the effort. But then when I actually did make the effort to go to the office hours, I was like, why don't I come more often? It would
Yeah.
have saved me so much time. He answered it just like that, as opposed to me taking days and hours trying to scratch my head trying to figure, and he just told me like that in like minutes, right? And
Yeah.
so yeah, the key is to seek help, allow for mentors going to get you there faster. And I don't mean mentor could be someone you paid, someone free. And I'm gonna tell our kids, everybody has gifts that God gave. Look for all the mentors that's already around you. So that's my comment there.
Yeah, no, thanks for sharing that. And you brought up a point that I wanted them to bring up. A lot of people who are in recovery, or not in recovery, but who are in their drinking, it's hard for them to ask for help. And so they feel like they're just by themselves, really the first step is to, of course, they always say, admit that you do have an addiction and a problem with drinking. The other step is to ask for help, and whether it be a mentor. I always say you want to surrender first. You must surrender first that you need help. Like, I'll tell you my story again. I remember this is how I surrendered, and I remember it was a routine of mine every day. It was an unhealthy routine that before I would go to work, I would stop at a liquor store. I would go ahead and take my water bottle. It was actually not a water bottle. I would buy a Coca-Cola bottle, those plastic ones, and then I would buy like a little pint of vodka, and then I would empty half of my Coca-Cola, put the rest of it vodka in there, and drink. So that was my routine before I went to work. Now, I remember I was just so sick and tired of my sickness, and I was like, I have had enough, because I had barf bags literally in the back seat, because I would have to dry heat from the smell of it or this, but it didn't matter because my body needed it anyway. And I remember I had the barf bags and I was feeling sick, and it was a rainy day, and I was just crying, crying, crying in the driver's seat. And I said this, I'm like, God, I don't want to live like this anymore. I don't want to live like this anymore, because I was just so sick of it. I was sick of being sick, and I was just like, ah. And then it wasn't too long after that, that's when I got pancreatitis. And I'm like, oh Lord, but you, and this is before I was actually going into church, like I never really grew up spiritual or religious. I knew of Jesus, but I didn't know like what he can do. Let's just say that. And then so for me, like I had the pancreatitis, which then totally made more sense, because then got me to the hospital. But let me tell you something too. Let me tell you that I wound up going inside a faith-based hospital. I remember calling my youngest son's dad to come pick me up to take me to the hospital. And I said, I want to go to this hospital. And I was there, and I remember had a big cross on there, but I wanted to go to that particular hospital. Don't know why. And then I remember the doctor who was talking to me. I don't know if you heard the story from yesterday when I was sharing, when she had that one-on-one with me, and she's like, she said, promise me you will never drink again. But what do I see on her neck? I see, this nice, beautiful cross on her neck. And I was just staring at that and staring at her. And then, of course, while I was in my recovery from pancreatitis and also alcohol, because they were taking good care of me, here comes a chaplain, an Indian lady, comes and wants to pray over me. Okay. So all these different signs happened. And then what happens? That is that hospital that I left was the last day I was ever going to experience anything like that ever again. I took out all of the alcohol that was from my home, threw it away, and then I just became completely sober and never had alcohol in my life, in my system, ever again. So I know I had to surrender and ask for that help. And my asking was the higher power, God, for me. And so, like I said, I never was religious. I was never really spiritual. I just knew of a higher power, God. That's all I knew. And so, but look at everything has created after I had surrendered and said that out loud. I called out for help. And I just then saw my life unfold and unfold and unfold and unfold into this beautiful life that I am now. And look where I'm at now, helping other women create a different type of lifestyle that aligns with who they truly are as a spirit, and just to grow and get better and better and be the best version of themselves. And that's exactly what I always wanted to do when I was little, is just to help people. That's why I got into psychology when I was in college, or behavioral science. That's why I'm a massage therapist as well. And so I went to school for massage, because I always love helping people. So I just wanted to share that asking for help is the best thing you can do. It transformed my life, and now I'm able to help others as well. So thanks, Nicole, for bringing that up, because that reminded me so much about how it's hard to ask for help, because we get things so much done faster when we just ask for help.
That is so awesome. So proud of you and your
Oh,
transformation,
thank
Gina.
you. Yeah, and that's how I met James Zing. and Becky. Met Becky first because then I started going to church. I remember, yeah, started going to church and then started doing women's Bible study and then started serving. And I mentioned in my story before about all that. And just that's how I met all these amazing women.
You guys went to the same church?
We did. We went to Resonate Church, yes, in Fremont. We did.
Ah,
Yeah, that's how I met Becky. She was in my Bible study group. And then this is before I even met my husband. And then I met James through Becky.
awesome. That sounds like a
Right. Yeah,
divine appointment there.
absolutely. Yeah. Well, thank you so
Now
much.
you go to church with me. Yay.
Yeah, I know. You know, you always film me. I see your I see your posts and sometimes our family we're seated very, very front, right in the front, like in the middle front. So if you
Oh,
ever see
you're in my
we're right
videos?
there. Yeah, I see us in in your videos.
In the lower level, like
In the
almost
lowest
100 years
level, the
below?
very front, like the first
Ah,
row.
that's good to know. Try to look for you in the future.
Yeah. Yeah, because we go to that service. That's amazing. Okay. So yes.
Yay.
Yeah, so thank you everybody for joining and I will give you back 4 minutes of your time today. And I appreciate you. And don't forget tomorrow at 9 to 10 a.m. it is Abby Young going over fashion and putting on your best ensemble for your type of personality. All right, everybody, thank you so much. Bye, Nicole.
Can't wait.
Bye,
Thanks,
thank you.
Gina. Have
Gina,
a
carry
great
on
day.
as well.
Love
That's all good.
you.
I love you. Bye.